This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya, from the Fort Hall School of Government. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at some of the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 18th of December 2019, and I am 2M.
I am DM.
And I am JM. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, Raila's party demands a powerful prime minister.
Yeah.
In the Standard, Raila's big U-turn on PM post. And in the Star, ODM wants powerful PM and 2 deputies.
Yes.
But we also have a bonus entry from the Business Daily,
Yes.
which we will neither toss nor award.
Yes.
But it's good news.
Yes.
It says electricity cost in largest drop since August 2018.
Beautiful.
Just a brief
It is.
commentary on this.
Can you imagine
Yes.
if all the headlines were like this every week?
I tell you.
Yes.
Oh,
But this
so
is
great.
one of the good news headlines where the good news is not abstract.
Yes.
It's very practical.
It's very
And
good.
it excited me, and I thought my bill next month will not be
Makes sense. And
shocking.
And the business daily is telling us that the cost per kilowatt has gone down from 3 shillings 75 cents
Yeah.
to 2 shillings 65 cents. And we've got the rain to thank for it, because it has rained and God has been good to us. It's not the KPLs who
God and
decided.
Uhuru Kenyatta.
May they continue to be good to us. Let's park that in the. Let's put that in the bay.
Yes.
And consider the headlines of the day. So the headlines are all basically talking about
The same story.
The same story. ODM wants a powerful prime minister position.
Yes.
And let me just give a rundown of what happened. So ODM held a National Executive Council meeting, I think yesterday, and they deliberated on the BBI report.
Yeah.
And they came up with what their position is: executive prime minister with 2 deputy prime ministers.
Yes.
And they also want one of the deputy prime ministers to be
Yes.
aged under 45 years old.
Yes.
And there's supposed to be a national convention slated for January 2020,
Yeah.
in which we will again
Yes.
discuss the BBI report and the recommendations
Yes.
and way forward.
Yes.
What's also worth of note, they mentioned in these stories, is that Mount Kenya MPs allied to Uhuru Kenyatta support the
Yes.
ODM position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is very well choreographed, because last weekend you had some Mount Kenya MPs saying that they want a powerful PM with 2 DPMs.
Yeah.
Now, what the nation and the media and the Stars is trying to tell us is that Raila Odinga was caught unawares by his MPs trying to tell him, oh, we want a powerful PM and 2 DPMs. Look, here the dog wags the tail. The tail does not wag the dog. Now, Raila Odinga knew very well at Bomas what he wanted, but because he cannot come out right now and say that he wants a PM position, he wants his MPs to say it so that he says other people want the PM position.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think this is the kind of development that reveals to us, as you people have been saying all the time on this table and on other shows, that the BBI recommendation document is a decoy document.
Yeah.
And these are just the beginnings of the engineering and the manipulation of the contents of the BBI that we will see perhaps in January, the middle of next year, that will be a true reflection of the desires of some of the principles.
Precisely. I'm totally in support of these positions. I think this is what we need in this country, a strong prime minister position, so that we do away with the cyclical political tension that we have every 5 years. We really need to deconcentrate the powers in the presidency, and take away from the contestations which happen on the streets. Take that into bunge, take it into parliament. Let parliamentarians fight amongst themselves. And as we said in Damaging Ignorance, no bourgeoisie, no democracy. So if we can't expect good governance if if we're going to be voting for the president directly. But if the strong prime minister is voted by MPs, by the bourgeoisie, by the middle class, then maybe we will have better governance.
And you see, I don't disagree. But let's also be realistic. I like this PM position. I like a parliamentary system. But let's be realistic in the sense that for a parliamentary system to work in this country, you need proportional representation.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be the hurdle to get over.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have a 3-point criteria before we award. We have a 3-point criteria which we use to judge the headlines. Are they topical or speculative, repetitive or groundbreaking, or thoughtful or just plain lazy? I think we give it to the Standard.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's very thoughtful.
Yes.
It's very intriguing.
Yes.
Raila's big U-turn on PM Post.
Which is what we
It's
just
also
said.
very misleading because when you read the story,
Yes.
there is no declaration made by Raila, but
Yes.
by the leadership in his.
Absolutely. So there's no U-turn.
Yeah, but there's no U-turn.
Yeah.
But
So great. So we give it to the Standard.
Just
so we can toss the star, toss the nation.
Yeah.
And all the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. We also have a 3-point criteria that we use to judge them. Are the cartoons humorous or dry, satirical or pessimistic, and finally, effective or just plain lazy?
Yes. And here you have the caricature.
What do we have in the star?
You have Ozone, and Ozone has a caricature of Kaka Sungura, or Kaka Rabbit, or King Kaka. He's got so many aliases. And he's playing a violin.
Rabbit.
Yes. And at the end of the violin is Anne Waiguru's head. And he's singing Wajinga Nyinyi. And the caption there is, "You rap me the wrong way."
Yeah.
do you know that song?
No.
You know this Anne Waiguru thing? Maybe give us the context, actually.
Context of this is Anne Waiguru has threatened to take King Kaka to court for a song called Wajinga Nyinyi, which Anne Waiguru accuses King Kaka of mentioning her in quite some unflattering words. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
You know what will happen in this situation? Remember, we've talked about the Streisand effect on this table.
yes.
This phenomenon where the more you try to censure something,
Yes.
the more publicized
It
it will
becomes.
get.
Yes.
Because also of the age of the internet.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's Streisand effect, and that's very notable.
You know,
So it should be avoided.
you know one thing. If one ever wants to become head of state or head of government as prime minister or prime minister, I think there's some level of temperament one should have, because if you're going to respond to every single allegation, then I mean you have no business being head of state. There's a reason why William Ruto is where he is right now. If William Ruto would take to court people, literally he would take to court the entire country, because people have said so many bad things about
So
him.
don't throw stones
Yeah,
at every
there's-
dog that barks on you
there's-
along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, otherwise now everybody, as you're saying, now with the Streisand
Yeah.
effect, everybody's going to know about it. Even my uncle who
Yes.
just listens to Mugithi songs
Yeah.
knows this song because he went to look for it
I know.
because of this case.
You've
Case,
had
precisely.
people who are over 60 years old today and in the past week are listening to this Wajinga.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy has crossed. This has never happened in Kenya.
He's getting so much exposure.
Almost 2 million views in about 2 days.
Yeah.
Really?
It's just
Wow.
ridiculous. It is.
It's crazy.
It's,
you know?
yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
For the cartoon, I think we park it.
Yeah,
We park it.
yeah.
What do we have in
We'll
the...
go to the Standard because
Standard.
then it's still on topic.
Yeah.
This cartoon by Gadot has a caricature of Anne Waiguru's lying on her tummy on a hospital bed next to a doctor holding up a poster. You can see I'm just avoiding the obvious description. But her bottom part is uncovered, and on one of her butt cheeks is a growth, and the growth is her head with NYS written on her hair. And what she's saying to the doctor is, he is responsible for it, I suppose, in reference to the growth on her bottom. And she's showing a poster of King Kaka and the Wajinga Nyinyi hashtag there, referring to the song, saying that he's responsible for the discomfort that she's feeling on her.
So maybe you can also tell us, because on the cartoon it seems like she's gone so that this bulging item at the back can be extracted.
It looks like a boil.
Right? Yeah, like a boil, precisely.
Yeah.
Extracted or treated, but she's doing a self-diagnosis with a very...
Well, I think it's a cartoon in poor taste. Gadot could have, done a far more decent caricature here.
But let me tell you as well, cartoonists sometimes should have no boundaries. You know, they have license to go beyond, and if they really pleased everybody else, then they would not be doing their job.
They wouldn't be cartoonists.
Anyway, let's toss that.
I think it's really at the border.
It's borderline
for me.
Yeah. So we toss
that. And what do we have in the Daily Nation?
In the Daily Nation, Dula has a caricature.
Yes.
That is, or a tableau that is happening at a corner street.
Yeah.
So on one side of the street is a very frightened, jumpy Alfred Mutua, and he is scared of shadows that he is seeing on the ground. Yeah. These shadows are from William Ruto, who is he can't see, Aidan Dwalo with his big jumbo ears, and Murkomen. And they're standing there. They look like they're minding their business and having a chat. But they've really traumatized. Really traumatized. Alfred Mutua. And this is in reference to Alfred Mutua's allegations that William Ruto and his associates have a plan to assassinate him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't condone bullying, but you know the cowardice that Alfred Mutua has shown in the last week, it's appalling, really, for somebody particularly who wants to lead this country.
Yes,
it's ridiculous. Mutua has become a laughingstock. And in fact, you know, there's in his backyard, in his own political backyard, we've got women, people like Charity Ngilu and Wavinya Ndeti, who show more bravery, more courage, who show more cunning.
Why are you saying that like it's alarming for women to display those qualities?
It's not alarming at all. It's not alarming. In fact, it is their season. Really, it is their season. And come 2022, they will show some of these leaders who are really, in my view, not worth their salt. They will show them dust. Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Jem has no kind words for Alfred Mutua.
So do we toss it all?
But so I like that one. I think we awarded.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
It is.
And maybe
very,
it's
very
representative
funny.
of the truth because he's being very jumpy at perhaps something that does not exist.
Yeah.
And maybe he's just using this to gain political capital, number
sympathy.
one, be on the headlines, which he has managed to be yesterday, to gain sympathy, but maybe also as a smokescreen to something else that he wants to draw attention from. But I always think, if you're going to announce publicly to people that somebody wants to kill you, somebody who really wants to kill you will do it, and it won't be that person that you're talking about.
And again, a little bit of bravery. I agree with you. If someone doesn't finya your mkono and just remain there, you can send some words his way as well.
Absolutely. You bite back.
You bite back. You say some words that tell them to back off.
Show them the muscle.
He's actually making himself larger than life. I mean,
And so, what is our final thought?
And now our final thought. It is inspired by the lineage of one and only Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
As we head into Christmas, we look at the lineage of Jesus Christ and the surprising pattern that is very evident in his heritage. And the pattern is that his bloodline is full of sinful relatives.
Oh, yes.
So today we're going to look at three of them. We look at Judah.
Yes.
King David and Tamar, or Tamar, as Jem would say.
No, not me. I call it Tamar.
So where do we start? I think we start chronologically with Judah. Is Judah his oldest ancestor or his earliest ancestor?
He's one of the very early ancestors. Judah was one of the sons of Jacob, and Judah basically sold off his brother. He's one of the brothers who basically came up. He's actually the one who came up with the idea of selling him off rather than killing him. Because that's what they'd wanted to do at first. And he then ends up, and you'll tell us a little bit about this. Getting into a relationship with Tamar, and then giving back to Perez, who will give birth, who is the ancestor of David. David, who finally leads us to Jesus Christ. Now, Judah is a man of a lot of sin. And in the book of Genesis, we encounter two Judahs by way of personality,
Yes.
right? In chapters 37 and 38, his morality is compromised. His words cannot be trusted; they're not truthful.
Yeah.
He seeks the services of a prostitute,
Yeah.
and later he orders that she be burned alive.
Yes.
When she's discovered to be pregnant.
Yes.
And so this is the kind of man Judah is in those chapters.
Yeah.
But then a bit later on in chapter 44, we see a Judah who becomes an honorable man. He becomes, he puts himself at risk to protect his brother when they go look for food from Egypt. And so at that point, he's now ready to sacrifice himself for the well-being of his family and for the well-being of others. And in doing so, he redeems himself. And he's ultimately rewarded in chapter 49 when Jacob blesses him with the ultimate blessing to basically be the ancestor, you know, to have a kingship in Israel. And that's how he then becomes one of the very first ancestors of Jesus Christ. And so there's a reason why this honor wasn't given to a perfect man. Because all of us are born sinners. We'll have an inclination to be sinners. And I think the message that the Bible and that Jesus is sending here is, you know, regardless of your past, regardless of how murky or messy that might be, that shouldn't hold you back from a future that looks completely different. So you are able to be forgiven of just about anything you've done. And God has the ability to forget and to forget sincerely.
Reverend Jem is relishing this final thought.
So if you're feeling like your sins are weighing you down, please don't be weighed down anymore.
As you head towards Christmas.
As you head towards Christmas, you can start afresh.
Amen. So I think one of Jesus's most famous relatives is King David. He was the greatest king of ancient Israel. He was a poet. He wrote the book of Psalms. He was a musician, and he was also a great warrior. And we also know him as a man who was very close to God. In fact, he's referred to as a man after God's own heart, which is a demonstration of his extraordinary devotion to God.
Absolutely.
So in fact, we know his story from very early on when he was just a young shepherd boy and he killed the giant Goliath in battle. But he is also one of history's, or at least the Bible's, greatest sinners. And of course, as a head of state, as the king of Israel, his sins were very publicized. One of the most famous stories about David is his adultery with Bathsheba and the murder of Bathsheba's husband Uriah. So the story goes that David was strolling on his palatial roof when he sighted a beautiful woman taking a bath. Instead of looking away like a good godly king, he let his lust consume him. And then he thereafter used his authority to get her to his house, father a child with him, and even worse, get his husband killed in battle. So as a warrior himself, he betrayed another warrior of Israel by putting him in the front lines and orchestrating his death. So my thought from this story is that, and Reverend Jem will tell me if it is a good thought, Jesus could not be a redeemer of men or of sinful people if he actually came from a family of righteous human beings. Isn't it? It would actually negate the reason why he came into life.
Absolutely. And this is why he always kept the company of sinners. He said in the book of Luke, I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. And I think that was a time when he was being questioned by Pharisees. Why always hang out with prostitutes and tax collectors and thieves and robbers. And and he says, I came to call the sinners.
That's a good sermon for all judgmental Kenyans out there.
Absolutely. Please.
I love it.
Let him who is without sin
cast the first stone. You know, I actually learned that from a Jay-Z song. In Genesis chapter 38, a lady called Tamar is introduced. Now, Tamar was married to a gentleman called Er, but Er had, and God killed him.
Er was Judah's son.
Judah's son. Right?
You said Erd.
Yes. You did say.
I got it. Jay-Z.
So then Judah told his son, his second son called Onan, to inherit Tamar. But Onan had other ideas. And Onan committed something called coitus interruptus. Now, if you don't know, please look it up, because I will not say it here. And God was not so happy with that, and he died prematurely, just like his brother. And there was a third son of Judah, and his name was Shelah. Now, Shelah was too young to inherit Tamar. And Judah told Tamar that once it becomes old, then Shelah will inherit Tamar. But that did not happen. So Tamar really wanted to get in the lineage of Judah. Now, one day she heard that this Judah man was traveling to a town called, what's it called? It was called Timnath. And he was going to Timnath to shear his sheep. And Tamar decided to dress herself like a prostitute. And there was an intersection of roads. So just as Judah was heading to Timnath, he found Tamar there dressed as a prostitute. And because he was in his feelings, he decided to ask Tamar for the services. And Tamar obliged. But
he had just become a widower. His wife had just died.
He just become a widower. His wife had died. And the price and the price of this interaction between both of them was a goat. But Judah did not have a goat then. So he gave her his staff, a seal and a cord as security. 3 months later, Tamar gets pregnant. And because it was a sin then to have a child out of wedlock, Judah ordered that Tamar be burnt to death for her sins. And just before she got burnt to death, she sent for the seal, the staff, and the cord with a small message to Judah that these were yours, this was a security. Then Judah realized that what he had done 3 months earlier and ordered for Tamar's release. Fast forward, Tamar gives birth to twins. And the name of the twins, one was Perez, the second one was Zerah. Now, Perez ended up being King David's ancestor. Now, you can see with all those bad people ended up being kings of Israel.
Absolutely.
So always hang out with bad people.
And the interesting thing about the people in Jesus' lineage is that they have very good names, which we should adopt.
Absolutely.
Like Uriah, Kiprotich, and Shelah, Karaoke.
Yes. I particularly like the name. I like the name Perez.
But you heard of Tamar. Is Tamar Kalenjin or is Kamar?
Kamar. No relation.
Great. So, on a day that we had a winning headline from the Standard and a winning cartoon from the Daily Nation, I will leave you with a quote yet again from the Bible, from the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, which says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose."
Hey, that's awesome.
Yes. So, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on your TV screens. Find us on Pang Free to Air, GoTV, and Star Times. Have a good evening.